welcome and thank you for coming today. I'm with ALX Resources Corp. That's the new name of our company. It was changed this past Monday, January 13th. The reason being, we've been in uranium for a long time. What we do is we look for clues at the scene of the crime, because finding uranium deposits or any mineral deposits is like solving a mystery. So hence our theme of true detectives. Forward-looking statements. I will be making forward-looking statements during this presentation. So if you want to read these in greater detail, please come by the booth and I can recite them there, but it will take a while to read them now. Corporate structure of the company. We have 132 million and change and a half million issued and outstanding. Our working capital as of September 30th was $2.4 million, or just under. The trading range, well, we've been beaten up like a lot of juniors, but I guess that's a buying opportunity. We have some great people in our company. Seard Eriks, our president and chief geologist. He's sitting right here, worked for many years in mineral exploration. Pat Graining, our CFO, sitting beside him. Again, very experienced in this type of company. Jody DeRouge, geologist from Edmonton with vast experience in many types of mineral deposits, depositions. Dr. Howard Hogum, David Miller, former president of Strathmore Minerals. Jean-Jacques Gautreau worked for Areva, now Orano in France, in fuel, nuclear fuel. And some other great people that make our company go around. On our advisors, Charles Roy, 33 years with Cameco in worldwide uranium director, also ran Cameco Gold in Reno, Nevada for a period of time. Did you know that? Charles was the guy. They sent him down there. Ken Wozliak. If one man was responsible for the discovery of Patterson Lake, I would have to say it's Ken, because he said, you guys need to drill just a few meters away from this particular hole that had this alteration in it. So they did, and Patterson Lake deposit was found in November of 2012. Dr. Larry Halbert has just joined us. This guy knows nickel like nobody knows nickel, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today, is nickel, because we still hold many uranium properties, but due to the market, the distressed market that we have decided to pursue base metals in Saskatchewan. So I've already talked about our team. We have a strong portfolio of properties. One of the best uranium properties we have is Hook Carter, which has helped fund our company for the past over 3 years, because Denison bought 80% of it in return for 7.5 million shares of Denison, which at the time was worth $4.5 million. It has been higher than that and sometimes lower, but that was fortuitous for us. We're funded for $12 million of the initial expenditures at Hook Carter. And right now we've crested the $6 million level. We have projects now that we've picked up in Saskatchewan that are non-uranium, also in Ontario, and in Norway, VMS projects in a very undervalued and underexplored area. Well, I think we all know that a positive attitude is required in uranium. But that's Wade Boggs, who used to visualize getting 4 hits before every game. So we just have to be positive about what we do and keep looking and keep rereading the clues and look at the evidence over and over and over. And then you see something that's different finally, and you go, wow, this could be it. So Saskatchewan is a great place to look for a lot of different things, as you probably may have heard today from other speakers. It has 900 million pounds of uranium mined in the last 50 years, I guess. 40 years, since about the mid-70s when they first started mining. And we have many other opportunities in Saskatchewan, namely nickel, copper, cobalt, diamonds. Well, of course, there's potash, and there's a lot of other minerals as well that have done very well for a lot of people. And the best thing about Saskatchewan is the permitting, investment climate. This is a place where you put your money down, you're unlikely to lose it because the government nationalized something. So I'm happy to work in North America. although we've recently gone into Norway, which is stable as well, because they have all the money they need. They don't need to steal yours. But Saskatchewan is a great place to work. On the south part of the basin, you see Hook Carter. That's the property that I mentioned that we maintain a 20% carried interest in. A lot of these properties are highly prospective, but it costs many millions of dollars to go out and explore them. Denison has done that with Hook Carter. We've spent money at Kellick Lake, at Argo, at Carpenter, at Lazy Edward Bay. Cluff Lake, we're just in maintenance mode. Many of our uranium properties are in good standing for 2, 3, 5, 8, 12 years, because they have this wonderful thing in Saskatchewan, unlike the United States, where if you work on a property and file a report and show how much you spent, you get to keep the property for a certain number of years. And that's what we've been doing quite effectively. We still have Newnham Lake. Black Lake we own a 40% interest in. We've earned from UX Corporation. But what I want to talk about today is Falcon Nickel. And Falcon Nickel and the Flying V projects on the north side. You'll see the Athabasca Basin is just in the bottom of the frame here. This is the hard rock before the sandstone starts. And in the beginning of my career, we were looking at Axis Lake and what might be underneath the sandstone as it projects. What was kind of nice is that where the pink claims are, in April of 2019, a company called Faith in Gravity Holdings suddenly staked 70,000 hectares one night. And we're like, who are these people? Well, it turns out I call it the Billionaires Club. It's a fund run by Andreessen Horowitz, and the people that invest in the fund are Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and a whole bunch of other people like that. So that was an interesting day when we found that out. It was reported in the press. So we instantly added to the Flying V property, which is the northernmost property there, tacked on to where we feel is very good geology. We think it's better than theirs, but so far they haven't done anything to prove it one way or the other. The Falcon Nickel project was being held by Pure Nickel, and the claims were about to expire in May, so it looked like a time that we should step forward and make a concerted effort to acquire this former Fond du Lac nickel project, which held 3 deposits. Now, why nickel? Well, this is a decade of nickel use worldwide. When you see that 1.234 million metric tons million metric tons of nickel metal was consumed in 2009, and that number almost doubled by 2018. This is a good thing. Now, the price depends on the supply. So we see in a 5-year period, it's ranged from just under $7 to a high of 8 recently, when Indonesia suddenly shut off their exports, and they produce about 25% of the world's nickel. They made up for it by correcting their problem, but the point being, with Indonesia and the Philippines as potentially with supply constraints, and then rising demand from stainless steel and electric vehicles, it looks like we'll still be rising on this chart. And when you look at that chart, the highs are getting higher. So let's see what happens next. So a rare opportunity for us was a project that had 3 deposits that have been delineated since 1929. It was first found by flying over. The people that knew what they were looking at flew over this property, saw rusty rocks down below, and that's how this area was discovered as a source of nickel. Now, a scientist that works for the Saskatchewan government named Charles Normand wrote a paper about it in 2015 in this area. I like Charles. He says we're just like Voisey's Bay and how the deposition and the style of mineralization has occurred. It's a magmatic nickel sulfide deposit. Now, what was not done is what I'm about to talk about. How people explored. Okay, there's 3 deposits on the property. They run in parallel. Ray Lake on the south, Axis Lake in the middle, Curry Lake, like an orphan in the top. And what we realized is that Curry Lake has the highest grade by reading all the reports. So Axis Lake non-compliant historical resource, 3.4 million tons of 0.6 nickel and 0.6 copper. So tantalizingly close to being economic, but not. But what people did is that he simply drilled along these long linear expressions. What we did is we took the data. Here's a depiction of the Axis Lake deposit in 1965, hand-drawn. And there it is from our digitizing all that data. And that's what we have now that we can integrate with all of our other things that we use. Geophysics, drilling information. That's a leapfrog. That's the ore body of the Axis Lake deposit. It's not ore yet because it can't be mined economically, but that's what people call it. So we went to Curry Lake. We said, well, their grade is higher there. And sure enough, we went into the old trenches and we pulled out about 20 samples, and a dozen of them ran over 1%. And this was the highest one at 3.13% nickel. You can see that rock, or the remnant of it, because we sampled it. It's at our booth number 413. Come and take a look. So here's a chart of some of the other numbers. The nickel, obviously in boldface, ranging between 1.22% and 3.17% for those samples. This is the model that Larry Hulbert proposed for the property. Magma coming up, just like Voisey's Bay, running along the sills, into sills that were there from the way the geology already existed. How am I doing? 1 minute. So here's Voisey's Bay, since Charles Norman brought it up. And what you see is over kilometers, a series of deposits, most of them connected, or at least the connections have been found because hundreds of thousands of meters of drilling. There's been 8,000 meters drilled on our property. Hundreds of thousands tells you how all the feeder dikes and conduits work. And there you have the ovoid alone, 40,000 meters, where those two red spots are. And that's 35 million tons of 2.4% nickel and copper and cobalt. So here's our property. Now we reprocessed the airborne surveys that were flown. People didn't have the tools in 2005, 6, 7, 8. We have these tools. We can see conductors that people didn't see before. So up at Curry Lake, where you see V1, Victor 1, Victor 2 was not even seen by Geotech at the time when they produced the report. Victor 3, that's the one we love. Because here, this is Victor 3, we call it the Curry Lake East conductor. We're going up there this week. This coming week, we'll be augering holes into the ice, dropping a bomb down there, grabbing lake sediment, and we're going to find out where the best place to drill on that is, because we've already found nickel and copper anomalies in the red hatched area from October. So that's it for Falcon Nickel. I hope you'll come by the booth. We've also gone into Norway. We did the same thing. We're reprocessing data that we know nobody ever touched before. And we have plans for a certain geochemical survey that could revolutionize what we do in mineral exploration. There's an example of the mag modeling that we've done in Norway beside a mine that ran for 26 years. And also, because we have people that watch for opportunities, we found a gold property in Red Lake that we could be expanding, but at least we went out there. We picked up some samples in October. This one here ran 24 grams approximately of gold. So we like to look for good areas, get our feet wet. We're not leaving uranium because we still have all these uranium properties for quite some time. But this is our new focus. A drilling program at Falcon in 2020 in the next couple of months. We want to be there before breakup, obviously. Working on Vixen, getting geophysics the way we've done with every other project. And then initiate some ground exploration in Norway on the VMS projects that we've outlined. Thank you for your attention. True detectives.